Hey guys, it's John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well, my dudes and dudettes. I recently got a new EVH, this 5153, the 50W 6L6 version, to accommodate its sibling, the 50W EL34 version. I did a full demo and review on this amplifier on the channel recently, which I recommend checking out up here and down here as well, if you're interested. And of course, one of the first things that I wanted to do with this amplifier was compare it to the EL34 version. I actually started working on this comparison last week, but then all of a sudden, out of the blue, this new 6L6 version stopped working. No lights, no nothing. It really was a bummer. Luckily, Toman was really great about it, and within a couple of days I got a replacement, so that's absolutely awesome. Anyway, so what are the differences between these amps? Well, obviously they have different power tubes. This one has the 6L6s, and this one has the EL34s. And both the amps are 50 watts, of course. When it comes to the tone, they're also voiced a little bit differently, but you'll get to hear that in a moment. The layout is the same. They both have 3 channels. They both have the clean green channel, the blue rhythm channel, and the red lead channel. All the features on the back are the same as well, with the loop and the resonance control, the MIDI jack, the headphone out, and all that good stuff. And by the way, for the comparison, I will keep the resonance controls for both the amplifiers at noon during the entire video. Okay, so let's just get started with the comparison. And of course, we're going to start with the green clean channels. And for this comparison, I'll use my Gibson Les Paul Custom on the neck pickup, the stock neck pickup. No reverb pedal or other pedals will be used in this entire video, by the way. The settings for both the amplifiers will be exactly the same. So all the EQ controls at noon as well as the presence. And the gain controls for both the channels will be set to noon as well. And both the amplifiers will be fed into my RedSeven amplification Amp Central Reactive load, and then into the same York audio cabinet for the entire video. The Mix 01 mic blend from the 5153 412 VH20 cab to be precise, which is of course a great combination for these amplifiers. Let's go ahead and check it out right now. Okay, interesting. So the difference between the clean channels is definitely very subtle. I must say that both sound quite beautiful with this guitar though. Nice and full, but also bright and just, an overall fine, clean tone. The 6L6 version does seem to have a little bit more hair up top, a little bit more overdrive, but it's a really small difference that you can definitely compensate by tweaking the gain controls. But again, it's very subtle. And the EL34 version just sounds a little bit more warm in the lows and the low mids. So it has a little bit more body and it sounds a little bit more round in the top end as well. But again, very subtle indeed. Now let's also take a listen to just the guitars in isolation. Here we go. Alright, now let's move on to perhaps the most anticipated portion of this video, the blue channel comparison. The blue channels on these two amplifiers are voiced quite differently, as you'll hear, and I'm going to keep the amp settings the same again, just so you can really hear the difference between these channels. So the EQ controls at noon, including the presence, but with the gain set a little bit higher than the previous comparison, so at around 2 o'clock. And let's compare the channels with my ESP LTD Phoenix 1000 Deluxe on the bridge pickup, which is a Seymour Duncan Custom SH5. So yeah, let's check that out right now. Here we go. Okay, great! So they definitely sound quite different. The blue channel on the EL34 is much fatter sounding with a much more loose bottom end, and it's also a bit darker sounding. The 6L6 version definitely has a lot more clarity, tightness, and bite going on. So yeah, the difference definitely is huge, and I was expecting that, and that's one of the reasons why I have both in the studio. The EL34 version does get some flack every now and then for the blue channel because it sounds so loose, and the others tend to sound a lot more tight on the blue channel. And I even did a dedicated video on that where I tried this channel with a boost up front, which you can watch up here or down here if you're interested. But I actually think that it's a very cool sound. It's just less modern, and it's thick and gooey, and yeah, it's just a great sound for certain genres like stoner and doom and more classic styles of rock. Anything that requires a very thick tone, basically. But of course, you could always add a boost to tighten it up, or tweak the EQ even further to open it up. By cranking the treble and mid controls, for example, that can help to make it sound a little bit more in your face, basically. Let's also take a listen to the isolated guitars. Here we go. Okay, and now my favorite channels of these amplifiers, the red channels. These channels, of course, have all the gain, and these are just great for modern rock and metal rhythm and lead tones. And let's compare these channels with one of my favorite guitars, my ESP LTD NW44 with a bare knuckle aftermath pickup in it. Again, with the same settings on both the amplifiers, so all the EQ controls at noon, with gain set to around 10 o'clock and presence set to 11 o'clock this time, just to tame some of that brightness. And these channels have a lot of gain, so with the gain control at 10 o'clock, they already have plenty of gain for a nice, modern, saturated tone. Okay, let's go ahead and check it out right now. Very nice! So the red channels definitely sound quite similar indeed, unlike the big differences between the blue channels as you just heard. I do hear a slight difference. The attack and the overall sound of the EL34 seems a little bit warmer and compressed, so a bit rounder overall. And the 6L6 version just has a bit more of an in-your-face and edgy tone, but again, the difference is very subtle. So yeah, this one is just a little bit more warm and saggy sounding basically. And perhaps that's just simply because of the fact that they use different power tubes. But then you can ask yourself, how much of a difference do power tubes actually make? Perhaps not as much as you might think. Let's also check out the isolated guitars for a closer look. Alright, this was fun. I hope you enjoyed it too and that you found it useful. Which one would you choose and why? Definitely let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. I think that for studio situations and also depending on your taste, the EL34 is a bit more versatile just because of the fact that the blue channel sounds so different to the red channel. On the 6L6 version, the blue and red channels just sound a bit more similar. So they're both kind of tight sounding and they both have the kind of same sonic character. Not exactly the same, but more in the same vein basically. So if you're just into tight and crunchy rock tones, the 6L6 version is hard to beat. But if you want something different in addition to that tight and high gain red channel, so something a bit more suited for genres like stoner and doom and all that good stuff, then the EL34 might be a better choice for you. That's all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below along with the notification bell to stay up to date. I'd usually appreciate that, as that really helps out the channel. You can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also feel free to join the Facebook group, the Sonic Drive Studio Guitar Gear Forum, if you're interested in that sort of thing. Thanks again, guys, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Cheers.